I see it in your eyes. Yeah, I can read the signs. You need to get away. It's time we make a change. Oh, you know you'll always have me. Baby, I will always stay with you. So put your trust in me.
Hello and welcome to the channel. Welcome here in Umoja. My name is Dennis Uhuru and today is laundry day. One of my least favorite days of the week or of the month. Of course, I don't do laundry every other day. Maybe once in a fortnight. You know, last week I went to chew jollof in Port of Jollof in Hurlingham. Let me chew this jollof. Fine dining. And you know, I was thinking now that I'm living La Vida Loca, that would save me from some of these mundane tasks. The reality on the ground is different. Anyway, you know, I just wanted to let the young men and women watching my YouTube channel know that, you know, things like going to Port of Jollof to eat some jollof, that is a highlight reel. That is not what happens in the life of Dennis Uhuru every day, you know. Yeah, so today is just a normal day. I thought I'd share it with you guys, but of course I'll be sharing some stories here and there as we go along. But today is just a normal day. The normal days, the mundane days, are the majority of the days in the life of any creator or anyone you see on the internet. Don't think that, you know, just because you saw them go somewhere, you know, do something nice, that is how they live every day. No, that is just a highlight reel, you know. Once in a while, after saving some money, you know, you can do something nice, but most of the time, the life is just, you know, the normal life that everyone else is living. And before we continue with the video, I normally don't do this, but I think it's time that I start doing it. If this is your first time to the channel, subscribe to the channel. I think my analytics say that almost 80% of the people that view my YouTube channel are not subscribed. So subscribe to the channel, just hit the subscribe button, and then let's get on with the video.
If we get in a car and drive someplace far, yeah, we could go for a ride. The two of us, we don't have to stop.
Recently I've been contemplating moving houses because of that noise that you guys are hearing. So the thing is, I have a neighbor carpenter who has a workshop right outside this gate, and he's a family man. Of course, he has to provide for his family, and I found him here as well, so there's nothing I can really do about it. But for a person that works from home like I do, those power tools make it very difficult to work. This house, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful house, very spacious. My landlady is the best that you could ever hope to have. For someone who goes to work in the morning and comes back in the evening, you wouldn't even notice. But if you're in the house the whole day, like I am, then of course it will get to you. I think I can give myself like 2 months to house hunt properly. See if I can find a house in Umoja and move to that house. I'll just be having two things I'm looking at. Of course, a 1-bedroom house, because I'm now used to a 1-bedroom house. And the other thing is it should be in a quiet place, and it should have a shower, a hot shower. I've missed showering in a hot shower for so long. My previous house had a hot shower that sing in it and dance, and you know, those were some of my favorite moments, just going into the shower and, you know, just showering with hot water, you know, putting my life into perspective. Beautiful times. So last week I shared a tidbit about my maths teacher, who we had nicknamed Mr. Piriton. because he would make us sleep during mathematics. And I talked about how because of him I didn't do very well in mathematics. And I felt bad after that because I only shared about this one bad experience without, of course, balancing it with a good experience as well. And so I want to tell you guys the story of my favorite childhood memory. And this story is related to a teacher, just not Mr. Pirito. And I wanted to share this to, sort of impart on teachers the power that they have on the lives of children. I think right now schools are closed and children are home, and I hope a few teachers also are home and are able to watch this video, and they'll be able to get from this story the power that they hold in a child's life. So this is the story of my favorite childhood memory. I went to a primary school called Mikosi Primary School, and Mikosi Primary School is located in Kisumu, and so that is where I did my primary education. And it just so happens that sometime in my primary education, while going to Mikosi Primary School, something happened to me that in later years would become my favorite memory. And even as I grew up and became an adult, it has remained my favorite childhood memory. So this is what happened. In primary school, we used to have morning lessons that would start from around 7:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. I'm not sure, I think 8 a.m. and go up to 10:30 or 10:45 a.m. And then we'd break. We call it break time for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we'd come back to class for the mid-morning lessons up to lunchtime, and then break for lunch, come back for the afternoon lessons, and then break. We used to call it games time and go home. So one time when I was in primary 4, we went for the morning break, and boys being boys, we went to play football. And those of you that have lived in Kisumu, or those of you that have ever gone to Kisumu, know how hot Kisumu is. It is very hot, very hot. But children being children and having acclimatized to that, of course, weather, we used to play. Even though the sun was very hot, we used to play in the field, play football, play running games, all manner of games. So we played football, and then when the morning break was over, we went back to class. As you understand it, because it was very hot, we were very sweaty, very dusty, and it was just a chaotic environment in the class after the morning break. And add that to the fact that I was already a very disorganized young boy, So maybe my white shirt had a brown patch around the collar, maybe my socks were torn, and maybe one of my toes was peeking out of my shoes. I was a very disorganized child, a very dirty, very disheveled, thankfully not malnourished. So then, a few minutes after coming back to the class from morning break, a prefect from one of the upper classes burst into the classroom and went to the front of the room and said, who here is called Dennis Uhuru? Who here is called Dennis Uhuru? And everyone looked at me and pointed at me. That's him right there. And the upper class prefect said, Dennis Uhuru, you've been summoned to the staff room. And all my classmates went, aya, 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 marakanjo, aya, aya. Because the thing is, being called to the staff room was never a light matter. It often meant that one had done something so bad that his punishment could only be handed out to him in the staff room in front of all the teaching faculty. And this was a reserve of difficult students, hard-headed students, Being called to the staff room was never a light matter. And so for me to be called to the staff room, everyone, including myself, assumed that I'd done something very bad. And because I didn't know what I'd done, I was at once taken aback, and I was like, what have I done to warrant being summoned to the staff room? You know, once the prefect had delivered his message, he left. And so with a lot of fear in my heart and in my mind, I left the classroom and started making my way very fearfully towards the staff room. It was a very lonely walk, you know, because when you've been summoned to the staff room, nobody accompanies you. You know, you walk by yourself and you head to the staff room to face whatever it is that you're going to face in that place. All right, let me put this away before I continue with the story. Let's do a short commercial break. And so I walked towards the staff room with a lot of apprehension. When I got to the staff room, I just stood outside the door of the staff room. I was too chicken to go in. But I could hear the teachers laughing and telling stories and, you know, having their mid-morning tea, as was the norm for teachers at that time. And so while standing in front of the staff room, the head teacher left his office, which was close to the staff room, and started coming towards the staff room. And he found me standing in front of that staff room and said, "Young man, what are you doing here?" And I told him, "I've been summoned to the staff room." A prefect from one of the upper classes came to our class and told me that I've been summoned to the staff room. And the teacher took my hands and told me, "Then what are you doing here? Let's go in together." And he took my hand and we went into the staff room together. And then, of course, the teachers, you know, looked up, and the teacher addressed all of them and said, "Which teacher has summoned this young man? What is your name, young man?" "Dennis Uhuru." "Which teacher has summoned Dennis Uhuru?" And my class teacher, I've never forgotten her name, Mrs. Mutende. Mrs. Mutende, you know, said, "I'm the one that summoned Dennis Uhuru." And when she said that, I looked at her and I was like, what is it that I did to warrant Mrs. Mutende summoning me to the staff room? And I could not place my finger on anything. And also I didn't understand why Mrs. Mutende would summon me to the staff room, because she was a very good-natured teacher, a very good-natured woman, very kind most of the time. So I looked at her with what I imagined was a facial expression of betrayal. Why would you summon me to the staff room? But then Mrs. Mutende stood up and addressed the whole staff room and said, "Teachers, this is the young man I was talking about. This is the young man I was talking about. Clap for him." And all the teachers started clapping for me. And Mrs. Mutende, you know, encouraged them to stand up and clap for me. You know, stand up, clap for the young man. And the teachers stood up and started clapping for me and clapping for me. And my face metamorphosized from an angry, frightened, betrayed expression to a bright smile, the likes of which I've never smiled again from that day. You know, I smiled from ear to ear because I could not believe that the whole teaching faculty had stood up to clap for me. It was the first and only standing ovation I've ever received in my life. And the teachers clapped for me, and I was smiling so widely my face would split into two. I didn't even know why they were clapping for me, but just the fact that they were clapping for me, it meant everything to me at that moment. Because I was not the most popular child in class, I was not the most talented, I was not good at anything particularly, I was not good at any sports, like I was not exceptional in any regard, in anything. But here I was in the staff room and all the teachers were clapping for me. Oh my goodness. And then the head teacher, who was also clapping, asked Mrs. Mutende, "Why are we clapping for the young man?" And Mrs. Mutende said, "Dennis Uhuru wrote the best my teacher composition. And then I remembered earlier that week Mrs. Mutende had given us a composition, and the composition question was, write a composition about your favorite teacher. And Mrs. Mutende went on to tell the teachers what had written in brief, and she said he wrote that my favorite teacher is Mrs. Mutende, and I like her because she's very kind, and she normally carries githeri from home as packed lunch, and whenever she carries that githeri, sometimes she has that githeri in class, and I like the smell of that githeri, and I often wish that she could share it with me a little bit. And I just went on and on to describe in my composition what I liked about Mrs. Mutende. And she enjoyed reading it so much that she gave me top marks for it and invited me to the staff room and told all the other teachers to clap for me. And of course, she'd given a few of the teachers the composition to read, and so they were familiar with the contents of the composition. And Mrs. Mutende, I could see, was very proud of me for having written that composition. And since that day, English became my favorite subject in school. English became my favorite subject in school, and Mrs. Mutende, of course, became my favorite teacher throughout my primary school education. I never had another teacher who had such an impact on my life, the kind of impact that Mrs. Mutende had. If you're a teacher, you can change the life of a kid under your charge. You have a lot of power to change their lives by affirming them, by telling them they've done well. Because there I was, a young kid in need of affirmation, a young kid in need of love, a young kid in need of support. And this teacher gave that to me on that fateful morning. And that fateful morning.
It's been 4 weeks since you called, and I've been waiting here for you all along. I've been waiting here for you all along. Where you been? Where did you go? I wonder if you found what you're looking for. Wonder if you found what you're looking for.
Hi guys, so I just finished doing laundry. I'm very hungry. Thankfully, I made some rice and what did that lady call it at the stall? Jahe. Last night, and a bit of that is still left. I'm warming jahe over here, and I've got my rice over here. Let me chew this jahe. Let me serve this and have it for lunch before we go on with the day.
I hope it's not too late. I want you back here with me. We never should have said it's better this way. I'd rather be with you than someone I don't know. Now it's like we're living in two separate worlds. Come on back to me. Say that you won't go. I can't cope without you, and I wanna hold you close. Say that you won't go.
Very good.
Say that you won't go.
You have to be realistic in these economic times.
It's been so cold without you here. We barely said goodbye before you disappeared. It's been so cold without you here. I'm not gonna lie.
Right guys, so today is the following day. Yesterday, after chewing that rice and jahe, the day just got away from me. I got to doing some work, and before I knew it, the day was gone. So today is the following day. I've gone and had a haircut, but I also feel like the days are moving very quickly. There's an interesting verse in the scripture. I think it was from something Jesus said. He said, unless those days be shortened, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. And he was referring to the last days. He was referring to the last days, which he said would be very difficult. And yeah, I believe we are living in those days. Anyway, I want to do the freedom comment of the week. And today is interesting because for the first time, I have 2 freedom comments of the week. I could not decide between these 2 comments which one should be the freedom comment of the week, so I just said I'll do both of them. So let's do the freedom comments of the week. The first freedom comment of the week is by Genzai Lab Studio. Denis Ouru, I honestly don't have enough words to describe how much your content means to me. Every video you post speaks directly to my heart and pushes me to dream bigger, work harder, and believe in myself. You're not just making content, you're changing lives, and I'm one of them. You've become a true source of inspiration to me. Seeing where you are today gives me the motivation to keep grinding, to stay focused, and to know that it's possible to reach where you are. Maybe even stand beside you one day. That's weirdly embarrassing for me. Please don't stop. What you're doing is powerful, and it's impacting so many young people out here in ways you might not even realize. Keep going, King. I like it. Your light is shining far and wide. God bless you. God bless you too, Genzai Lab Studio. It's comments like this that, make you want to keep on doing what you're doing, going out there, making videos. Yeah, thank you for that comment. The next freedom comment of the week is a bit more poignant, a bit more emotive or stirring. Yeah, it's by one global chef. This is what global chef had to say. Hey Uru, life has really changed this past month since my wife passed on. Living alone is tough, but sometimes I find myself dancing like you do on your YouTube channel. Your content lifts my spirit, brother. Keep going strong. You're spreading light even in my darkest moments. God bless you, brother. Kudos. This is Global Chef. Global Chef, I just want to say, man, I'm sorry for what you're going through. That's a deep loss. I hope that you're able to be strengthened at this time. I hope that hopefully things make sense soon, man. So those are the freedom comments of the week. I'm thankful to both these individuals for writing them. I feel like we don't take enough opportunities to appreciate those that are around us, So this is the simple exercise I want us to do, and I'm starting with the young boys and girls who watch my YouTube channel. I have a number of young boys that watch the YouTube channel, and I just want to, give them some homework to do for me. So if you're a young boy or a young girl watching this video, and I just want you to do something for me, grab a piece of paper and pen, and then I want you to write something for your parents. If you have both parents, I want you to write something for your dad, and a separate something for your mom. If you only have one parent, then just write for that one parent. So this is what I want you to write for your mom. I want you to write, dear mom, thank you for being mom. Thank you for keeping the family together. Thank you for the delicious meals that you make us. Thank you for making us laugh. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for always making sure that I'm ready for school in the morning. You know what your mom does for you. I want you to write and appreciate her. I want you to note all those things down and appreciate her. And at the end, tell her that you're very proud that she's your mom and that you love her very much. Do that for me. And then for your father, I want you to write something for your father as well. You know, men are going through a lot of things. If you're a young boy, you may not realize it, but men are going through a lot of things. Life is not very easy for men. We are always called upon to solve something, and most men never get the opportunity to open up, even to their friends, because, you know, as a man, you have to always be the figure of resolve and determination, and you always need to have a solution for everything. You can't break down. You know, sometimes you get to women, you know, opening to their friends and, you know, hugging each other and crying together. Men don't do that. So, if you're a young boy or a young girl watching this video, I want you to take this opportunity and write something to your father, alright? I want you to write the following. Dear Dad, thank you for being Dad. Thank you for putting a roof over our head. Thank you for making sure that we eat. Alright? Thank you for paying my school fees. Thank you because you work so hard so that the family can survive in these difficult economic times we are going through. Thank you because you've never given up. Thank you because you are always solving problems in this house. Thank you for loving us so much. I want you to encourage your father, because believe me, he doesn't get encouragement anywhere else. It is very rare for a man to get encouragement anywhere else. So it is going to be up to you to encourage your dad. And of course you can add many other things, because you know your father better than I do. Thank you for keeping us together as a family. Thank you for going out and working so hard and paying our school fees, making sure that we are clothed. Thank you for making sure that we have a life here as your children. We're able to go to school, have an education. If he's recently bought you something nice, like maybe a new pair of shoes, write it there. You know, if he's paid your school fees, if he takes you out for lunch once in a while, you know, if he pays for your school trips or things like this, I want you to write those things in that piece of paper. I want you to encourage him, because no one encourages him. When he wakes up in the morning, you know, he has many things in his head that he needs to solve. He has targets at work that he needs to meet. Perhaps he has a difficult boss, or if he's the boss himself, perhaps he has difficult employees that he has to manage. It is very difficult for him. He has to pay taxes. He has to always provide solutions, and he provides all these solutions and rarely gets even one single word of encouragement. So it is going to be up to you to do that today. Alright? Okay, alright. So then, you know, let's move on to the married couples. Appreciate that person that you have. So many people do not have a pillar of support in their lives like you do. So if you're a man, appreciate that wife of yours. You know what she does for you better than I do, you know. Write it down in a piece of paper. Thank you, my dear, for being my sambusa. Thank you for making my house a home. Thank you for all the delicious meals that you provide for us. Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for caring for me, you know. Thank you for being my pillar of support. You give my life meaning. Write all these things. And if you're a woman and you have a loving, supporting husband, very many women do not have what you have. Very many women wish they were in your shoe. Perhaps it's not a perfect marriage, but your man is loving and supporting and caring, and you know this. You know, write in a piece of paper, appreciate this man. You may not get another chance to do so. But thank you, my husband, for being my husband, you know. Thank you for all that you do in this house. Thank you because you have made me a happy woman. Thank you because I see what you mean to me in this house. I see how much you care. I may not tell you enough times, but I don't take it for granted. You know, write all these things in a piece of paper. Appreciate that man. Tell him he's a real man. Best believe no one ever tells him that. Not his friends, not his colleagues at work. No one ever tells him he's a real man. So tell him, alright? Tell him that he's a good man, he's a real man, he's a strong man. Men like to hear they are strong. Tell him he's a strong man. He will be very happy. He may not show it right then, but best believe he'll be very happy. Those words will not leave his mind. And to all those young boys and young girls, those words that you're going to write, when you give them to Fade or Made, they may not perhaps at that very moment show how much it means to them. But best believe me, those words will impact them so deeply you will not even know. Those words will never leave them. They'll always remember those words. So do that. Let's do that exercise. Alright? Okay, so this week's video might have not been very interesting, but of course that is life. Life can't always be interesting all the time. All the time life is interesting. No. Sometimes life is just normal. Sometimes life is just mundane, you know, everyday life. So I hope that this video, at least you got something out of it. If this is your first time to the channel, subscribe to the channel. You know, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And then I'll see you in the next video.